know
Thank you.
that this time is very tough. Marla also lost her brother. Brothers are special people, and they are very special because when they cross over, they are standing guard for their sisters. Your brother loves you very much and sends his love, kisses, and angels are watching. Please call upon your angels and speak to your brother. We are here for you. Much love, Mirth.
Thank you.
Tony. Tony, we lost Tony again. Hi, everybody. So, all right, let's see what else Mirth wants to say. You all must realize that there is no death. It is extremely painful for those on the earth plane. But this pain does soften as time goes by, and you can learn to use the quiet times, your meditation, your sleep, as times to connect with those who love you. You will see your brother again, and Marla will see her brother again. Enjoy your life. Have fun. Stay strong. Mirth. Here. So happy to be transmitting from the seventh dimension. So, yeah. So, it's so hard. I, just got trained to volunteer with hospice, and we recently, the health group that I'm training with, we have something that we started, I think it started in Britain, and it's called the Death Cafe. And so a group of us got together from the hospice group and had food and drinks, and the main gal even brought some bubbly, some champagne, and we had our kind of some like Mexican skulls, and like they do at Day of the Dead, and we sat around and we spoke about death, like not in a gruesome way, but in a way that kind of talking about our experiences and the loved ones that have passed. And I think our culture and society in the West, it's death, it's like you don't talk about it, it's kind of taboo, don't mention it, like it doesn't happen. But it's really natural when we think about all of the millions and billions of people that have passed, and people are passing every second on the planet. But we keep that connection because the veil is very thin, and so we just lose the body, and we have to. It's so painful, but we can learn to connect, be quiet within, and keep a relationship with our loved ones. And so, that's what I try to do. I have a little picture of my dad who passed right here at my desk, and so he's working with me, and I know he's with me in spirit. And I've had readings from Tony before. She's amazing, and she's brought him through, and a lot of mediums and psychics have. And so, yeah, we want to keep them in our lives, keep them, talk to our loved ones who passed, even our pets. I see hey.
Oh, I think so. I might be back. Hello. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Marla. Continue.
Yeah, I was just talking about death and how the veil is thin, and we continue to have a relationship. And so I kept the conversation going here when you popped out.
It's a good thing you're a guest tonight. See? That's beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. So, Marla Martinson, everybody. And so yes, is our caller still on?
Ireland, are you still there?
No. Okay. That's okay. So Marla and I have so many amazing things going on right now. Right, Marla?
Yeah, so, too many things. No, a lot.
Marla, why don't you talk a little bit about your book? Let's talk about The Buddha Made Me Do It.
Yes. Oh, I've got right here. Thank goodness I'm prepared. So The Buddha Made Me Do It, A Field Guide to Enlightenment, and that's my spiritual memoir. It's kind of like an Eat, Pray, Love meets Bridget Jones's Diary. It's available on Amazon or on my website, marlamartenson.com, MarlaMartenson. And it's funny. It's my 2-year journey, spiritual quest, and it talks about how I met Mirth and a lot of things. And my husband's in there. We're like a real-life Ricky and Lucy. I'm a matchmaker, a real-life Cupid. That's how I make my living, and been doing that 15 years. And then I also do energy work and some readings and Reiki, and I combine it with my matchmaking, healing the singles. And I've got, if anybody's in the Los Angeles area, connect with me, because I'm having a 2-day workshop in October with another healer called Zarathustra for single women. It's going to be powerful. So, yes. And, and Tony and I we Facebook Lives, and we do our videos and readings together. We have so much fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that I love about Marla, other than the fact, she's just Marla, we're both Geminis, and so we have that quirky sense of humor and a lot of similar things that we like to do and whatever. But she is really one of the kindest people I've met, and I'm really grateful that she and I have connected, because we've come up with so many great little things. We did a whole series on the chakras, starting with the root, and we've made our way so far to the heart. We're going to do the throat, third eye, and crown soon, and we might even do that on Facebook Live if we do dare, right?
That's going to be fun. We'll do it both, but we'll do that. We can do that on Facebook Live. So, and then we're going to get a product together, and so we've really make a great team, and we both have our go ahead. Jimmy Mack, Marla introduced me to. I've had him on the show a couple times, and Marla and I are working on a little program that will be a surprise, and I messaged Jimmy and asked him if he would like in on it, and he was like, yes. So that's 3 amazing healers and psychics working together on a program for you guys that is going to be just absolutely extraordinary. I believe it's going to be extraordinary. Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. So one of the things, since we still have a little bit of time here, one of the things that we can talk about is I'm about to publish another book, and I'm really super excited about this, because this book is different than my last books, although all of my books have been channeled. But Marla's going to write a foreword in my book. I'm so happy for that. And but this book is channeled messages from above that are really, like, it's so funny because half the words in the book, I have to look them up to understand what they mean. That's when you know you're channeling, folks. That's right.
And when I'm done channeling like a poem, one of the messages, I'll go back and read it. And the other night I was putting one in, and then I went back and read it, and these tears just started coming from my eyes. Here I am. I'm supposedly the one who wrote it, and I'm looking at it going, that's just so beautiful. Oh my goodness, thank you. Like it's like shocking, like not shocking, but I'm in awe of it, knowing it doesn't come from me, but it comes through me, and it's just Ah, they're so beautiful. I can't wait to share them with the world. I really can't, Marla. I'm terrified. I'm very terrified to share these with the world, but I cannot wait to share them with the world.
I channeled a poem that I put in The Buddha Made Me Do It, and I love Edgar Allan Poe, and I've channeled him, and we channeled a poem.
Awesome. That is very cool.
It's in the book. It's, kind of pop and interesting. My husband doesn't believe it's from him, but
it's okay.
I said, that's okay. Whoever it's from, it's a pretty cool poem. It wasn't from me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? We know that it comes from above, and that's what really counts.
Right.
Yeah. So we have about a minute left, and I just want to say, Marla, thank you so much for being on the show this evening. I'm so grateful that you, especially since you could fill in for me when I kind of dropped out for a moment. I'm so grateful for that. If you want to connect with Marla, please go to her website. Go ahead and say your website again, hon.
Yeah, www.marlamartenson.com, MarlaMartenson.
And if you want to connect with me, you can go to my website. That's www.tonig.info. You can connect with Marla and I on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Now, if you are connected with us on Facebook the next time we go live, which will be next week, you can pop on and get questions answered there also. I want to thank you so much for watching this episode of Messages from Above with Tony G. I'll be back next 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 Eastern. Until then, make your life amazing and go make some magic. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Hello everybody, it's Indigo Grace with my Heart and Soul Guidance. How are you everyone? It's wonderful to be here again. It's been a little while. How are things for you? I have got a big show in store. Right. I can actually hear a little bit of fuzziness going on in my head, in my earpiece here, so I hope you can all hear me properly. So I've had a big couple of weeks. I've had birthday celebration for myself, a great big one. What else have I had on? Ooh, lots of changes in my work. It's really, it's fantastic. It's been a time of really thinking about what it is that I feel that Spirit wants me to be doing. So I'm looking forward to sharing on my website, sharing in my newsletters. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to have a newsletter from me, just go to my website and register. So indigo-grace.com.au, and you can sign up for my newsletters. And I don't send them very often, maybe once a month. So you're certainly not going to get bombarded with lots and lots of information. But, you know, it's nice to stay in contact and see what's coming up. I've got a brand new place that I'm going to be working from, starting from this afternoon and all day on Saturdays. I'm at the brand new gorgeous, gorgeous shop called Chakra Angel, and it's located here in Perth in Western Australia. So sorry, I think it's .au, and have a look at what they do, me included. And but for those of you here in Perth or in Australia who travel to Perth, it's located in Hamilton Hill, which is just outside the Fremantle area. And it's a gorgeous new shop. It's got the most amazing, beautiful energy. And as soon as I went in, I decided, right, this is the place I need to be. And it's happening. When it's right, it flows. And I feel like I've gotten myself into a really, really good flow now. So let's see what I can do for you today. And for the lucky caller today, it's Elizabeth in Bangor in Maine in the US of A. I hope you can hear me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good tonight, thank you.
Great, I can hear you. I've just got a little bit of background noise and I'm not quite sure what that is, whether that's coming from my end or what. But, you know, I can hear you, so that's all good. So, Elizabeth,
Okay.
welcome to the show.
Pardon me?
And welcome to the show. What is it that you would like to know about?
Well, there were three different things. One would be health. Two would be relationship. And three would be living location.
Okay. So the first one, did you say health?
I did.
Okay. So I suppose you're actually asking about your health. But,
I am.
You are, yeah. I just got a quick little flick of the message when I said the word health, and it's either for your mum or from your mum. So has your mum passed?
She has.
She has, okay. So, all right, can I have her first name, please?
Margaret.
Margaret?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Let me just see. And actually, do you mind telling me her middle name?
Elaine.
Diane?
Elaine.
Okay. Let me just see if she's got a little message for you. Are you concerned about your health around the same issue that your mum had in her health?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, so she's actually just wanting to let you know that she's here with you and that she's always with you, actually. And yes, make sure you take care of your health. So there you go. That's her little message for you. So she may pop in again and say, you know, something else a bit later. So let's just move on to what you would like to know. Okay, so have you had some issues that you're concerned about? Is there anything that you want me to actually check out specifically?
In reference to what?
Sorry, in reference to your health?
Yeah, I've recently been through quite a bit. Are you able to hone in on that?
It's a bit hard to understand what you're saying.
Are you able to tune into what I have recently experienced?
Okay. Can you tell me what that was?
I went through many months of intestinal problems and bursting of the intestines, and many surgeries and several deaths.
So what was the last bit?
And so what was what?
And there was something at the end there. Burst intestines and something else.
I went through several deaths.
Deaths,
dying.
okay. I thought that's what it said, but I wanted to double check. Okay. Look, I keep getting drawn to the chest, so I'm just going to stand up just there a little bit. Just that little bit here around the chest. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's breast, but it could mean anxiety in the chest, and it could be to do with lungs. So I just want to park that to one side at the moment, because I just keep wanting to put my hands just at that top part of the chest there, top part of the breast area. And so there's something around that. There's a message perhaps around that. As I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's an illness there, but there's something drawing me there energetically. Okay. All right, so yes, the energy in the chest there is grief. Very clearly, that is grief, but I want to tune into this intestinal thing and what's going on there. All right, it feels as though energetically that this is to do with your soul journey in relation to your father. Was your father a dominant person?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not sure what your beliefs are around physical symptoms and energy and in connection to emotions and the energy of emotion that we store in our bodies, but it feels very specifically connected to the experience that you've had this lifetime with your father, and specifically to do with holding in, I just got the word rage. So anger was what I was going to say, but the word rage has come in as well. Is that right? Are you really angry with your dad? Maybe just under the surface, not even necessarily have you ever spoken it?
I had been for many years.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sorry to say that that has manifested in your body in the intestine, and even the rupturing of it's literally like an explosion of the rage internally because it hasn't been dealt with on the outside. I find giving this sort of information a bit difficult because it's kind of sad in a way to know that we as human beings can have these awful experiences in our physical bodies as a result of feelings and stored energy. I don't for 1 minute discount diagnoses of diseases and so on, but my personal understanding of that is that that is created. It maybe have a label of the disease and it very much is whatever the doctors diagnose it as, but how does that manifest? And for me, it's to do with energy. So that's
yes, I believe that.
Beg your pardon?
I believe that as well.
Okay, that's great. Sorry, I just don't like to offend anybody if they...
not at all.
Yeah, good. So, and then that gives the explanation for others who are listening as well to have a look at what's going on for themselves to do with their own health. Okay, so of course you would benefit enormously from having an energy clearing around that emotional issue towards Dad. The other thing that okay, so it feels as though that it does affect your bowel as well. So I know your intestines are part of the bowel, but when I say that, I mean a bit more about, your bathroom visits. So I think there's an urgency there around getting some energy healing to clear this issue for you, so that you can do as well as you can possibly post injury, I suppose you can call it. All right, so let's have a look at the relationship stuff. So are you currently in a relationship?
I was. I am not now.
You're not now. And was that with a man?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it feels as though, did he leave you?
In a way.
Okay. It feels as though he didn't really understand relationship, and he didn't really understand you, and in a lot of ways he doesn't really understand himself. Does that seem right to you?
That's true.
Okay. So I feel that he, while he, is a great guy and a nice person and all those things, when you dig deep down or scratch the surface even, his level of understanding around even communication, it feels as though he could do with some more skills around communicating and being less concerned about his own needs and more considerate of others, and really
extremely narcissistic. Yes.
Okay, right. So I do tend to go on to the more gentle side when I give these readings. Yes. So he does seem very self-focused, and he's the type of guy that's going to make sure that everyone else is wrong and not him. So I don't think that it's a bad thing that he's not around for you.
I think it's a very good thing. In fact, he had gotten to the point over the last few months where he became more of in a physical nature, and I was actually in the hospital for a possible stroke, and he came in a few days later and put his hands around my neck. So no, he's not in my life.
Yeah, definitely not someone you want in your life. That's awful.
No.
Do you want me to have a quick check-in on why you've attracted that kind of person into your life? And no doubt it's a bit of a pattern of having men that are more self-centered than what's healthy.
Do I what now?
Do you want me to check in? I'll check in for you around why you've attracted that kind of person. Okay, well, of course, it kind of goes without saying almost. Again, it's related back to this father experience that you've had. So in this lifetime, I'll tell you what the soul lesson is for you around this. We just cut to the chase. Straight up, I get worth, which is a really common one. Most of us have got to work through worth, but I always need to double check. So you have the gift of kindness. You're a really, really kind person, and you have the capacity to give a lot of kindness to others. So do you do that through your work or just through community or as a mum or a friend?
I do.
Yeah? You're not a nurse by chance, are you?
No.
No? What sort of work do you do? A teacher or something like that?
I am disabled. However, along the way, I have been helping others to heal.
Okay, great. So a nurse and a teacher in an energetic form is exactly what you're doing, helping others to heal. So perfect. This is your greatest gift to the world, and in order to overcome the soul lesson around being abused, really, emotionally abused, is by coming into knowing your divine self. So that's something that we could do in a soul healing for you. And it's something that you can also do for yourself by just sitting with that knowing that you have a beautiful gift from God, creation, whatever you refer to that energy, and that is your truth. Okay, how does that sound?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Now, you said you had some deaths.
Some what?
Some deaths.
Deaths, dying.
So you've had some people that have died in your life?
Now, I died during this last intestinal explosion inside. I died different times. I went into the light. I had a near-death experience. I was outside of my body. My soul was screaming. Many things occurred. It was quite interesting.
Wow. I would really like you to share a little bit about that now, if you feel like you'd like to, just for our listeners to hear what that experience was like for you. Just take a moment. What would you like to share with us?
Well, my intestines had burst. I had diverticulitis for 6 months, and it was not getting better. And I had many visits to the hospital, to the ER, to specialists, etc. And 6 months or so into it, the intestines burst. I flatlined.
Wow, that's amazing. We've just lost our connection. And I think it's incredible that it's happened at the moment where she's mentioned that she flatlined. She said Elizabeth. So I've decided to stay with this caller today because I think Elizabeth's incredible experience is really worth sharing. Hey, Elizabeth, you there?
I'm here.
Great. So how interesting that we lost the connection as you said the words flatlined.
That I said the word what?
Flatlined.
Flatlined, yes.
So,
and I was on the ceiling. I was on the ceiling looking down at heads peering over my physical body. And they did not have time to prep me in any way. My soul was screaming as I felt and envisioned, I'm very visual, them scraping out the stuff out of my body almost like with a wire brush. And it was shortly after that I went into the light, and it was the most magnificent experience I have ever had. I did not want to come back. It was truly amazing.
Wow. Is there anything more you could share around the experience of being in the light and what that felt like?
Just nirvana. I have no words other than nirvana. Truly.
Nirvana.
It's there are no words, and I have a very good command of the English language. There are no words to describe it. There, you have no wants, no needs. Everything is perfect.
Yes.
And perfect is not the perfect word. It's a very pale word for it.
Yes, I understand that. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I had incredible tingles and a big shudder when you spoke about how beautiful it was in there at that light place. So we can achieve that experience of being in the light without experiencing death, and that's what so many of us are working towards doing through meditation or through healings and so on. So what I'd love for you to do is, have you ever been able to go back to that experience of being in the light yourself, just through a meditation?
Being in the light?
Yeah.
Have I been in the light?
Have you been able to reconnect with the light just through a meditation?
With it? You mean before or after that?
After.
No, I have not. I am working on myself. It's a very slow process because this, it took many, many, many months and serious drugs to keep my body, my physical body, alive, and for me to heal from being cut open from top to bottom and within an inch or so of my backbone and having an ostomy. So it was pretty intense. Wow. And then after that, my person that I've been in relationship with escalated his abusive behavior into physical form. Not totally blatant at first, but then little by little, more and more. And that's when I've not really been able to focus on, like, being back in the light. I've just been trying to get back to some modicum of health and be able to maneuver around and get around.
Okay. Goodness me, what an incredible experience for you. And to cope with the emotional side of all of that, let alone the physical, it's amazing what our human bodies and our soul can endure. So I'm so glad for you that you're getting through that. I would love to help you if you feel called to contact me at a later stage to help you process through that. But what I wanted to say about having him coming in, so you've had these two experiences of the light and the dark, and you have a choice whether you're going to bring in the light or you're going to bring in the dark. And when we choose to bring in the dark, it's usually around a belief that we hold about ourselves. And so that's the thing from the experience of being with your dad in this lifetime. And no doubt there'll be past lifetime experiences that have contributed to that negative self-belief as well. And so what I'd like for you to do is to try and just sit and reconnect with your divine self. Now that you've had that incredible experience of connecting into the light, you know what it feels like. So just take some time here and there when you can and just close your eyes and remember. Just remember that feeling and try and remember it in your body of connecting with the light. And through that connection, you begin to remember your divine self. And that's that gift that I mentioned to you before about the giving of kindness and love. So I hope that you can take that away from today's reading and make that, something really advantageous for you from this experience here today. I want to thank you so much for sharing. Has the reading been helpful for you?
It has been, and I appreciate very much everything that you've shared with me. Pretty much all that you have shared, I have come to realize. I am on my journey still. It's been almost 4 decades, and I am working on being in the light consciously, and not just consciously, but or subconsciously as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that. Please contact me if you'd like to book in for healing. And we've run out of time. I'm sorry, I have to cut you off there and we have to go. Thank you once again, Elizabeth. Thank you to everyone listening. I'm Indigo Grace, indigo-grace.com.au. See you next time, everybody. Blessings.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. It's got nothing to do with fairness. Bam. Your whole world changes in an instant. And you never see it coming. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke. F-A-S-T. Fast.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and thanks for watching Moonstruck. And now back to A1R on the air, Psychic Talk Radio now on Moonstruck TV and Lightning Television. Good evening. You're listening to Modern Mystic Radio on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. I trust you're having a great week so far, and we've got some fantastic shows lined up for you today. If you want to get hold of me outside of this, you can do on www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or of course you can get in touch with me on Facebook. My page is Modern Mystic. Also got another page called Mystic Sarah, where I do live free readings as well once a week. Okay, so I'm looking forward to taking my callers and tuning in to your issues and your problems, etc., etc. But before I do that, I'm just going to allow you to take a sneaky peek, if you like, into my life, a window into my world, as it were. So I'm going to talk briefly about my whole journey so far, both on a personal level and of course on a spiritual level as well. So really from day one, from an early age, I've been fascinated with anything to do with spirituality or anything to do with the unknown, and that's been with me since you know, as far as I can remember. But my first real experience was when I was around 7 years old, and it was like something was just switched on for me, and what I could actually do was see spirit night after night after night, and it would come in the form of not somebody standing at the end of my bed or anything like that, but more in the sense of I would see faces, but not faces like you and I, but more like the outline of a face, and I would see hundreds of these things night after night, and they would literally come in, swoop in right up close, and then just go off to the side, and have another one that would just go off to the side. And I used to see this all the time. So I used to see it with my eyes open, with my eyes shut, and I used to be woken up in the middle of the night with this. So I tried everything. I tried asking my parents to leave the hall light on so I didn't have to see them, but it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, there was no communication from these spirits at all, none whatsoever. I would just see the faces, and this carried on for months. I'm not quite sure exactly how long it carried on for, but this was when I had my first experience with my spiritual guides, and I saw them discussing me and saying that I needed help, and obviously this can't carry on. So they shut off that ability for me. And that was instant, and I haven't had them, or those faces, ever since. And that is one of the things that kind of amazed me. But as a child, you just forget about it, you just get on with life, etc. And then when I was about 13, I came across this book on how to read playing cards, and this is kind of how my interest really, got started in terms of doing readings. So I would do readings for friends and family using the playing cards. And when I was 17, I decided to have my first professional reading done on me. So I went to a psychic fair and met this lovely lady, and she did me a wonderful reading, and she said, you can do this, you could actually do this. And I thought, right, okay, can you teach me? Can you teach me how to read the cards? Because this is what she was using. And she said, yes, of course, I'll come over to your home. And I was expecting weeks and weeks and weeks of training, as you do. And all she did was shuffle the cards. And it was this pack of cards that we're talking about here, the Psi cards. And these are the ones that she actually gave to me all those years ago, so 27 years ago. Okay, so it's these. And she said, shuffled them, she said, you can already do it, do me a reading. And I thought, no, I can't, that's why I've asked you to come over. And she said, no, you definitely can, just do me a reading. So I did my first very rusty, probably very vague reading, and within a month of that she had me working alongside her at psychic fairs, and so I was very much thrown in at the deep end, and that really has been the theme of kind of the way in which spirit work with me. It's like, okay, you're going to do this and we're just going to chuck you straight in. No preparation, no build up or anything like that. So from 17 I started working at psychic events, psychic fairs, and also doing private readings as well. So that was my introduction into the psychic world. So I carried on doing that, learning different tools as well, picked up the runes, picked up the runes a couple of years later and worked with them. And then I started teaching. So my spiritual development really grew quite significantly. And one of the most memorable experiences I had was actually when I was attending a development group myself. And I experienced what some people call, and what I refer to, as a God consciousness experience. And this was something that literally blew my mind completely. I wasn't intending to do this, it was pure, it just happened. So what I actually felt was my being actually expand and grow to the point of where I was encompassing absolutely everything. I could feel and sense the energy of everything. Now this experience only lasted probably about 10-15 minutes. It wasn't that long, but it's the first and only time I've had the pleasure of being able to experience such an enormous feeling. So I had that sense of being in touch with everything, but actually physically being everything. But also there was this overtone of the energy of love surrounded by it as well. So it's a very, very powerful experience, but that's one of the most memorable ones in terms of spiritual development. And after I started teaching, I met what I thought was the love of my life, and we decided to get together and start a family together, and I moved to Wales. In the UK, and there I started my own psychic business, and that was going fantastically well. Again, sort of going off like a rocket. So I was doing a lot of psychic work in and around my family, so that was going well, but unfortunately the relationship wasn't, and at that point I was also learning Reiki as well, so I'd done my Reiki 1 and my Reiki 2 healing, and when I did my Reiki Masters, that's when the relationship kind of collapsed, and I moved back home. I moved back in with my mother, and then got my own place from there on in. So my journey in that respect had been quite traumatic on the emotional front, and that, if you like, that trauma on the emotional front kind of carried on down the years. So I had a couple of relationships that were quite sort of damaging to me, you know, quite difficult. And in the end, I actually moved in with my father, and so it was me, my father and my children. So I had to, at that point, go out and get a job and work and join the real world. So I had to put my psychic work to one side. Now, it's always been in the background. So even if I had to go out to work, or, you know, had all my time taken up, you know, I would still be offered certain things and keep the psychic work up and running. So there's never a chance of me completely turning my back on it. It would always come back in. And in 2007, my father passed away, and this was again a very unusual experience for me. You know, I am highly sensitive anyway, but about 2 weeks before he passed away, and he was not, you know, it was a sudden passing, there was no way of knowing as such, I was hit with this enormous sense of grief. And that's how I described it to a colleague at work. She asked me what was wrong. I said, I just feel like I'm in grief. I don't know what's wrong with me. And that lasted for a solid week, this feeling of grief. And my father was still alive at that time. There was nothing wrong with him. And then the week after that, this is where he passed away suddenly. So it's almost like I knew, even though I hadn't physically, you know, been told by spirit or what have you, I just got the energy of it, and it wasn't until afterwards that I could, you know, actually clearly see why I was getting that. So when he passed away, it was the morning of his funeral. I had a really powerful experience. Again, it's not one that I was looking for or trying to achieve in any way, shape or form. And I woke up literally a stupid o'clock. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and the dawn was beginning to break, so there's that funny sort of light around. And I woke up wide awake, and it was almost as though I could feel, well, I could sense him there. He was definitely there. The presence was so strong, it was off the scale. It was like, you know, if you've got your eyes closed and you've got somebody standing in the room next to you, you can feel them, you know, you can literally feel them. You don't necessarily have to have your eyes open. But this is the sensation that I was getting. It was like I could reach out and physically touch him, even though I knew he was obviously not there. Now, he then proceeded to have a conversation with me, you know, sort of mentally, sort of a telepathic communication, and this went on for quite some time, and I'll never forget this because this was quite beautiful. He showed me, it was like he was going through a photo album of me and the family when we were children. And almost like snapshots, but with those snapshots I had all of his emotions come forward in the sense of love and pride and all these different emotions. And he said to me, he said, Sarah, this is what I'm taking with me. These are the treasures that I'm taking with me into the spirit world, and I will never ever forget that. It was so touching. And so we carried on our conversation mentally, and then all of a sudden he said, I've got to go. I said, no, just a few more minutes, please, a few more minutes, just want to spend some time with you before you go. And he said, no, I have to go because somebody's going to call you. And I said, but it's 5:30 in the morning, nobody's going to call me at this time. And he said, you'll see. And off he went, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't stop him. And within 2 minutes of that, the phone rang, and it was his sister, who I hadn't spoken to since I was about 4 years old. So I mean, I didn't even know how she had the number and stuff like that. So I was most surprised by that. Obviously burst into tears from my emotional experience with my father, but that was again something very, very special. Then on the morning of his funeral, there was a space in the house. Like I said, we shared the house with my dad anyway. There's a space in the house upstairs, and I could smell this perfume, and it was really strong. And it wasn't one that I recognised, and I couldn't quite place it, and I thought, well, maybe the kids had dropped something, went looking around, couldn't find anything, but it was really, really strong and very distinct, very, very distinct. And when we went to view the body before he was buried, to say our last goodbyes and give our respects, etc., that was the fragrance that was all around him. So somehow I was picking up on that fragrance from home, which again I thought was absolutely amazing. And since his passing, he's always come to me in my dreams. So if there's ever been an earth-shattering experience, he's always come forward within that state. So I kind of recognise, if I get a dream of my dad, normally there's something big that's going to happen to me. Normally it's quite traumatic for me, and it's like he kind of comes in to just give me the heads up there. So it's almost like I don't get constant communication from him, but when he does come in, it's normally there's a big message there for me. So after he passed away, I bought his house and carried on working. And this is where things started to go quite downhill for me. I was in quite a negative relationship. My jobs wouldn't work out, and it almost became a standing joke, on what's going to happen this time. And it was literally job after job. Something would go wrong, the line management change, or I'd get made redundant, or something would happen. And I mean, fundamentally, it was because I'm supposed to be doing this, but taking that leap of faith as a single parent, which is what I was, with everything resting on my shoulders, no backup, no savings, no client base or anything like that, I went through this over and over and over again, this constant job changing, and then what I found here is after I literally had enough, I thought, right, okay, I don't want to get another job. I want to do my psychic work. Give me a sign, please. Give me a sign. So what I got was a dream of being escorted from my present workplace and walking straight into a newly opened psychic shop or psychic business. So that was my first sign. So me being me said, okay, give me another sign, please. And all of a sudden I had loads of inquiries come through, literally 10 in 24 hours, which was phenomenal. So I decided to take that leap of faith, and it was absolutely terrifying, the most terrifying thing I've ever done, of not going for another job and deciding to devote myself to my psychic work wholeheartedly. That was the promise I gave to Spirit. Right, you've got my 100% attention now, So what happened from that is I worked on a couple of phone lines and tried to build my business up, and within a couple of months of that I was invited to work on UK TV as a psychic. So this is where my journey really began. So that was about 3 or 4 years ago, and again it's kind of taken off like a rocket. But fundamentally, that journey towards the point that I am now has been very, very hard, so I will never forget that point of feeling, when I said things were going downhill, of that knowledge that all of a sudden you know you're going under and there's nothing you can do about it. I will never forget that feeling. Now, if that's something that you can resonate with, you know, you have my absolutely 100% assurance that I know where you're coming from. Now, I have my first caller today, and this is Colleen from Springfield in Illinois. Hi, Colleen, are you there?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming through to me today. Do you have a question that you'd like me to look at?
Well, the only question I really have is in regards to my son, Joe. I just wanted to know that he was okay and everything is fine where he's at.
Okay. Is your son in spirit?
Joe passed away in 2011.
Okay, right, let's just have a look and see what I get here with this. I'm going to use the spirit message cards for this and see what I get here with him. So let me just get those out for you. Give those a bit of a shuffle as well. Let's just see what we have in terms of his energy. Just trying to tune into his energy as well. See, I do feel here that you pick up on his energy around you, not all the time, just moments, odd moments. You kind of get, it's almost like it just drifts past you. Does that make sense to you?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
What I'm saying here is I feel that you do already sense your son's spirit, okay, with you. Okay. I am getting here almost like direct contact here that I feel that he does make towards you. I am also getting, with the cards, one of the ones that I absolutely love here is Hello from Heaven, okay? And I absolutely love this card, and this is telling you really to start looking out for signs that your son is still around you, because I feel like he is. I feel like even though I get the element of like trauma